In the latest chapter 209 of One Punch Man, after a long time, Saitama has finally made his entry, and what an epic entry it is. The moment Saitama steps in, the stage is set for Saitama versus Empty World. If we look back at the previous chapter, we saw the second part of Blast versus Empty World, where Blast suffers a crushing defeat. As a result, Blast loses one of his arms and can no longer use techniques that require both hands. Despite this, Blast doesn't give up. He still tries to save Empty World by awakening his inner humanity through words. But as with Geru, not everyone can achieve such a feat, and it doesn't work on Empty World. Empty World explains this to Blast while stabbing him with his sword and leaving him suspended in the air, making him look helpless. Empty World taunts Blast by saying, "I've heard that you've reached great heights in the pro hero industry, even becoming the #1 hero. When I heard this, I knew you could achieve it, but at what cost? The disaster you bring to those around you. What about them? You've become the #1 hero, yet you can't even protect anyone." As he torments Blast with his words and sword, Empty World suddenly says something shocking that completely stuns Blast. He tells Blast, "You have a child, don't you?" And Blast's reaction confirms this truth. Empty World realizes that this news is accurate, further unnerving Blast. At that moment, Empty World is attacked, this time by Flashy Flash. However, Blast stops Flashy Flash, asking him not to interfere. Flashy Flash, full of confidence, ignores the warning. He says to Empty Void that you had taught us that we should first attack the weak spot of any person. And because the Blast was much more powerful than Fleshy Flash and Sonic, then Fleshy Flash asks, "Why didn't you attack us?" Handgas and Empty Void in the next panel also fulfilled this wish of Fleshy Flash, with one attack, giving him a lot of damage. In the meantime, Sonic comes in support of Fleshy Flash, who sees that Empty Void runs away from there, does not fight with these two, on which Blast is very upset, because all these things he did to capture Empty Void, not to kill. Because if Blast wanted to kill Empty Void, maybe he would have killed him earlier. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, after this, we see that Empty Void reaches his dimensionless space, and from there, he again uses the same powerful attack, that is Dimensional Slash. But before doing this attack, Empty Void also says that he wanted to kill all three of them one by one. But he is tired of all this nonsense. That's why he uses this attack. But really, I honestly doubt that what he is saying, he can do it. Anyway, after using Empty Void's Dimensional Slash, the three of them sweat. Because so far, everyone has been able to escape from this attack only through Blast. And that too, Blast was able to escape by using both his hands. But now Blast doesn't have a hand, so how will he escape now? Maybe that's what he was thinking. And when this attack was moving towards these three, then suddenly this attack stops, on which all of them are shocked, because they don't understand why Empty Void stopped this attack. And Empty Void doesn't understand who stopped his attack. But we all know that only one person can do this. Our Saitama, who doesn't even use his whole hand and just stops the attack with his fingers. Can you imagine this? Saitama is stopping such a big attack in this way. And he is saying, "What is this? I really don't get it. Is this guy really like this, or is he just making fun of us?" Because obviously, any normal person will understand that this is an attack. Anyways, let's see Empty Void, who tries to do another attack with his other sword, at the same place, but he still doesn't understand what is it that stopped his attack, because his attack doesn't cut things. It cuts entire dimensions in a specific area. But for his bald head, what is space and dimensions? We all saw it in the Garo fight. Literally, the guy was kicking the portals. And when Empty Void does his second attack, Saitama stops it with his other hand, saying this, and after stopping both the attacks of Empty Void, he is completely blank. But then Saitama pulls those two swords towards him, because he understood that this is the same guy who attacked the headquarters of the Hero Association when he was present there. And in this way, Saitama pulls Empty Void from another space to the earth, and Empty Void falls right in front of the Blast, Flash Blast, and Sonic. And Saitama, who is present there in the jungle, he is thinking about what to do with Empty Void swords. But Mono, who is present with him, understands that these swords are ninja swords. Anyway, The scene changes after this, and we see that Empty Void was still in shock. Where are his dimensional blades? But in the meantime, Flash, Blast, and Sonic attack him, with which he could have been saved easily. And this thing also tells Blast. So that's why Blast uses the same cut hand to use his teleporting ability, and immediately reaches Empty Void. And we are explained that Blast had brought blood flow and neural signals to the other hand through his ability, because of which he was able to teleport. And do you know why Blast teleports? Not to attack Empty Void, but to save him from Flash, Blast, and Sonic. Because as he said, his motive was not to kill Empty Void, but to capture him. And now that Blast had no other choice, he tries to merge with Empty Void's body. But because they could both die, by doing this, Empty Void gets very scared. After this, we see a small glimpse where Blast and Stitch were talking to each other. Blast was talking about his last resort. That is, if the final plan goes wrong, what will he do? And that plan was to merge his body with Empty Void's body. And because Hero Association had self-separation technology, they could use it to separate Empty Void and Blast later. But still, because there was a risk in this thing, Blast even says that if my life is at risk, then you have to prioritize Empty Void. But before they could merge, I don't know why they repel each other. But in this attempt to merge, their memory overlaps, because of which they were able to look into each other's memories. And do you know what Blast found out by looking like this? That when Empty Void used that cube, as you know, God changes someone's face and gives his hand to another. The person who is in front of you, the one who gives his hand, is always very close to the person who uses the cube. And do you know who came in front of him when he used Empty Void? Blast's wife. And because of this thing, Blast was very shocked. Now we will find out the whole thing in the next chapter. But it seems that the fight between the two has happened because of a girl. It's true, man. It's always like this. A girl comes in the middle of every friend who starts everything. Then whether that girl does this intentionally or unintentionally. Anyway, whatever it is, we will find out 100% in the next video. Empty Void versus Saitama will be shown. And if you get the idea of this chapter, then you will know that the next chapter is going to be very strong. So if you like this video, then do like it. For the next chapter, do subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.